Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and today we're going to look at 4 mods that I find an absolute must-have for you guys. So if you love Planet Zoo, you want to make your experience even better, consider these 4 mods I'm going to quickly show you today. We are starting with the first one right away. I'm gonna hit pause real quick to show you guys what is going on. So you can already tell from the path that there's a lot of different textures going on, and no, I've not done them all by myself and per hand. There is a mod with expanded path. It's not free build where you can actually use every kind of shenanigans with the pathing. No, it is a texture mod for the pathing, and you can tell by actually going closer there are a lot of different variants, as you can see. And what I love especially about those, like, they don't have stellar textures, they don't exceed in terms of how nice they look or whatnot. They are just realistic as hell, which is absolutely great because this is something that we were lacking quite a bit. I got also very tired of the same old texture all the time, and now what you can do is select a lot of different paths. I haven't even put down all of them, but you can see there's a lot in here. One of my favorite, for example, is the Sandbox path, where you can actually put like a little sandbox down. It's easier to show you by just putting down a little sandbox like here. So there you go. This looks like a proper sandbox, has a pretty decent texture, and you can, you know, just imagine you put some rocks around here and it looks like proper sand. So that would be very much nice for a habitat as well. But there are also other variants that are super useful. I love this one, for example, for a parking. In fact, we do have a parking over here, which I have done all the stuff faked myself, as you can tell over here. So would have been so much more easy to just have the path and just put it down here. So for example, just take where is it actually? Let me just grab it if I find it. There you go. Just grab it and put it in here so you can tell. That would have been so much easier. Just let me just delete these things real quick. Look at that. You could have just put that below and it would have looked so much better. Instead, I had to do this all by my hand, and also it's not even looking remotely good as I've done that myself. So that's a very neat little mod. It gives you, as I said, millions of these things. And the best thing, the very best thing about this mod is not even a new texture. It is an improved texture, and that is the staff pathing without the logo. I mean, also we have staff null path version now, but you can finally have this path and have no little icon on top of these. Like, as I said so often, I like these paths, but I hate this logo on top of it. I'm not sure why it is there. I'm not really sure why it exists, but yeah, with that little mod, it's gone. Okay, let's go on to the second one, which is in this habitat over here. Now, you can tell something weird is going on over here. Let me just check this one and hit play. This, my friends, is the green iguana as a habitat mod based on the Nile monitor. There's a tiny little issue with it, but you will see already now. So they are floating. The reason why that is pretty quickly explained. The Nile monitor obviously sits very tight above the ground, like it's very, very low above the ground, and these animals don't. So while walking, you would need these legs to be moving a little bit more different, and this is why the creators of the mod favored the land movement over the water movement. Unfortunately, the Nile monitor still can't dive, and you will always have them go above water, which is a little bit of a pity. But other than that, they have all the requirements of the Nile monitor, which is good. And also, one thing I wanted to quickly show you, one thing that the mod does work pretty well with is the traversable area. So for example, you can see over here, they have absolutely no issue to traverse because they have shrunken down the hitbox that is required to move into certain areas, which is very interesting because that way you can make very nice little jungle habitats. Potentially you will see this on my channel very soon, who knows, but I would tell you to, you know, keep your eyes on the channel. But I would also, you know, make sure to not use too many water features because it just doesn't really look nice. If you do build realistically, you unfortunately need those, but if you turn down like realism, it's fine. You can just use it in a jungle habitat. I certainly think that this mod is absolutely a must-have because this is finally giving us an animal that we had for so long and people love, but you just can't use it. But now, look at that, it is so good. Because of it being actually a little bit changed, it does look pretty good in its movement. I gotta say, this is potentially my favorite mod when it comes to bringing in an animal that we don't have as a rig right now, and we only have as a habitat animal, or exhibit animal, I should say. Look at the movement. I find it very good. The way they trick the system actually works for the benefit, because now they do walk a little bit better above things. things. As I said, the swimming is the only little issue we have, but that should not be too much of an issue. Okay, number 3 is something you have already seen, but there are a couple of other things I have to talk about, is Planet Zoo Plus. Actually, Planet Zoo Plus has been around for quite a while, but now has been updated, so it works again with the 1.13 update of the game. So what it does enable a lot of things. So first things first, you will have access to a lot more interspecies bonuses. Let me just go in here. You can see, for example, I'm in the common warthog, and it has now all the African animals enabled. There are a couple of those who haven't been in here for whatever reason. Some interspecies bonuses from the original Planet Zoo have been also you know, they haven't been very consequent in how they did this. Sometimes there was a very weird way where one animal could go with the other, but then vice versa, it wasn't possible. So with Planet Zoo, it is possible. You can also manually, in a file, in an edit file that is with the mod, you can change certain things. So for example, one thing it does change as well is the radius around a facility if you want. So for example, if you check now onto water, you can see how ginormous this radius is now. You can tell by how big the radius is. You can really catch a lot more of these things now, and if I click on it, you can see how freaking huge that is. And you can also change these values by putting down certain other facilities and then just change the value of this. But speaking of value, it also changes the requirements of certain animals. So for example, if you want to have like a smaller polar bear habitat for whatever reason you want to, you can go manually into the file and reduce it. They have already done in the default version, they have already adjusted some of the requirements down to a certain amount. Also what they do is they actually improve certain requirements in terms of diving and stuff. We can actually check if they have done this properly with those. Let's quickly see if that worked a lot better. Now, well, it didn't really work with those. If I go in here, I mean, they can dive, we checked this, but they still have quite a huge problem. Like with the seals, it always is a little bit of an issue, but yeah, this is that. But Planet Zoo Plus, as I said, for me personally, is a must-have mod. It is one of these mods that really do give you a lot more control over the game, even if you want to play with money enabled in challenge mode. There is so much that it will offer you. So pretty big idea to use that. And also the last one is just the mod that you can see in front of you. It is a pretty simple mod, but it is the monk seal, as you can tell over here. Look at that one. This is the monk seal. So why is that a must-have mod? You could say, Rudy, it's just like a new animal. Yes, normally I don't really talk too much about new animals. I did show you the green iguana because I think it just enables you to have a completely new experience when it comes to the habitat you build for it, simply because we haven't had anything like that before. The monk seal, though, is actually increasing the roster of diving animals that really do dive a lot by quite a high margin, because we don't really have that many animals that do so. We have the gray seal and we have the wonderful sea lion, but that's almost about it. Then we have got the 2 penguins, and things are getting a little bit yeah, a little. There's not really that much going on. And the mod is just freaking fantastic. It is super good. And the last reason, these creatures are freaking endangered. They are super endangered. So it's very good to have one of these things in to raise the attention for this fact, because in the Mediterranean Sea, unfortunately, there are not really that many specimens, individuals alive. I think around 1,000, 1,500, not more than that. So really good to have this as an idea for the conservation of these animals. This is also why I decided to make them kind of the hero of this seal area. We do have the gray seal in here, obviously, and the sea lion, but they are the star of the show. And they also have a lot of very cool color morphs, including, for example, this black one over here, which is my favorite. It has this gray-white belly. Obviously, it's totally based off of the gray seal mod, which I think is still my favorite mod when it comes to diving animals, because it is that animal that spends, well, actually most of the time in the water. The sea lions actually like to walk around a little more, but those fellas over here, they just love to dive. So yeah, highly recommend to really try out that mod, because it doesn't really change too much from the actual game. Now, with that said, these 4 mods are my current favorites. It does not include the 5 mods I have already mentioned in my last mod video. If you haven't seen that one, highly recommend watching this one. This also shows you some of the remasters, and obviously free build as potentially the most important mod of them all. But yeah, if you have never heard of free build, you better watch the first video. Until then, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more of this in the future, let me know down below in the comments. And if there's any mod that I've forgotten that is actually your must-have mod, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always open to see which ones you guys are using. One thing I want to just mention, if you're using mods, beware. If anything breaks, if anything is just going wrong, you cannot claim anyone else than yourself, because modding can and will change the original game file, so neither Frontier nor anyone else will help you out with any of the help, because it's not their job to do that with actually modded files. The modders, though, will always be happy to help if there's anything to do. For me personally, modding never did actually break anything beyond repair, but I gotta say, be careful with the usage of mods. It's not intentional, it's not supported by Frontier, it's kind of agreed on that you can, but it's not. So make sure to do it on your own risk, just as a little disclaimer here, very important. And also beware that with every update and every DLC that you'll install, some of the mods will break, some of the mods will require an update, and sometimes that will take time, because the modders do actually have a life. So yeah, make sure to keep that in mind. This is also why I favor to just use most of the mods as a cosmetic mods, because you can easily just do it again. But keep that in mind. As I said, thank you so much for watching, have a good time, goodbye.